Okay, so we're getting to the end of audition season now, so it's only natural that your stress levels are peaking the closer and closer you get to getting an offer, getting to those end results. Because you've invested so much time, you've invested so much money, you've invested energy, you really care about this. And because the stakes feel like they're so incredibly high, it is only natural that you would be walking into the interview portion of your audition and feeling like you're about to face a firing squad. So you sit down in front of the panel and you assume that they are actively trying to catch you out, that they are trying to expose you as a fraud. But if I'm going to be totally honest about it, the interview is not that at all. The interview actually acts as a very practical, a very straightforward thing for the panel to gauge a few things about you. So today we are going to talk about the 3 top reasons why you should not be worrying about your drama school audition interview, and how to actually gauge and understand what the panel want to get from you. And hopefully that will completely change the vibe that you bring into the room. But before we get into that, if we haven't met already, I'm Louise. I am an acting coach. I've been sitting on audition panels for over a decade now, and I have been teaching at some of the top drama schools in the UK, along with helping and coaching people get onto those programs as well. And if you want practical, no-nonsense, straightforward guidance, tools, and resources for how to navigate audition season, then I highly recommend signing up to my online platform, act.cool. It is packed with resources and training videos and a community chat. All of this has been built up over the decades worth of me working with actors, so I know for a fact that this is going to be really important for you to navigate your audition season. And you can also work with me one-to-one, so if you're wanting something that is a little bit more specific towards you, then all of the details for getting in touch with me, along with signing up to act.cool, are in the description box below. So let's break down this interview. Reason number 1, it is not a test. Even though you may feel it in advance, the audition panel are not there to interrogate you, and they're not waiting for you to say the wrong thing so that they have an excuse to laugh at you and reject you. A really common trap that I see actors falling into is preparing these like pre-planned, regurgitated information type answers to the questions that they think that the panel are going to ask them. But the thing is, if you come into the interview with like a PR statement, something that is really fine-tuned and polished and feels very robotic, then that actually works against you. Because what the panel are actually looking for is your natural thought process. For them to ask a question and for you to be thoughtful and mindful and take your time over thinking about it and then answering it. And they want you to answer honestly. Now look, if they ask you something and your mind temporarily goes blank, then that is okay. Nerves play tricks on us, okay? And the audition panel knows that. So if you do encounter that, there's nothing to stop you going, that's a really good question, let me take a second to really think about that. And then gather your thoughts again and then answer the question. It is not about you being, unrattleable, affected by what's going on. It's about you being truthful and authentic in the moment. And taking a pause to consider the question shows maturity. It also shows that you're listening to them. So I want you to treat the interview like a genuine conversation and not like a quiz. Point number 2, the logic of being yourself. They want to get to know you from a purely logistic point of view. Because if you walk into that room and you present this idea of someone who is incredibly high energy and very bubbly and is really interested in physical theatre and, cracks jokes constantly, and that just isn't you, that's not your natural approach to navigating conversations and being around other people, and the audition panel really like that, and then they offer you a place on the back of that, then that is going to be a really exhausting 3 years of training for you, because you're going to have to keep that facade up. And how demoralizing is it that you were accepted onto a course based on a lie, that the way that you showed up was not authentically yourself? Now, no, I'm not advocating for you to be totally uncensored and to just be kind of like, oh, I can't be bothered and I'm just gonna, the interview has no bearing on this, that, and the next thing, and I'm not going to put my best foot forward. Of course, you are going to show up as you on a good day and engage with these people in a relatively positive fashion, but there's a big difference between that and just being someone else. A lot of the time when people present something that isn't actually authentically them, it's on this basis of, well, I've got to be all things to all people. I've got to try and appeal to every single person on this panel, and I've got to make them like me, because if they don't like me, then they're not going to offer me a place. And the reality is you are not going to be able to please everybody. It's just a fundamental fact of life. The famous quote is that you could be the ripest peach in the world, but some people just don't like peaches. So the thing is, you could be perfect for one school or two schools in terms of their approach, their energy, their ethos. And for other schools, you're just not going to be in alignment with them. And that is okay. Because the truth is, you probably don't want to be going to a school where you're out of alignment, where you have to pretend, or where you feel out of place. Best approach is to always turn up as yourself and engage and connect with your audition panel in the interview from a place of genuine authenticity. And if you get onto the course, you know for a fact that that is going to be really suitable for you in terms of personality. Point number 3, there are no trick questions. They are not going to be asking you questions that you do not know the answers to, provided that you have done some research on the school, that you have a fair idea of why you want to train, and that you have refreshed yourself with your personal statement so that you don't contradict what you said there. Again, it is not about jumping through all of these elaborate hoops to try and decipher what they want from you. It is going to be fairly straightforward. They're going to ask why you want to train, what drew you to this school in particular. And a lot of these questions are asked not just for the answers themselves, but so that they can gauge you, your personality, and your authentic approach to what you want to do with training, with your career, and with your life in general. They're gonna be asking about you. And the good news is that you know all about you. It's gonna be things like, what do you get up to outside of acting? What kind of work inspires you? Are there any projects that you would want to work on in the future? And that is the reason why I say that you need to brush up on your personal statement, because whatever you put there, they're probably going to use the personal statement as a springboard for conversation. So if you mention that you were part of a theatre company, then they're probably going to ask you about that experience. So the easiest thing to do is recap on your knowledge about this school, really get aligned with what is drawing you towards training specifically, and refresh yourself with your personal statement. And the rest is already in your head because it's all about you. So in the end, if you realize that the interview is actually just a mutual chat between collaborators, then you will find that the pressure of that situation is going to completely lift. Now, if you want to run a mock interview situation, or if you want to brush up on your speeches before you go into these recalls or these final rounds, then what I highly suggest doing is getting in touch with me and booking in a one-to-one session. Because we can run all of these different interview scenarios from a place of it being authentically you. And make sure that you sign up to the actor.co platform, because on there you're going to find a community of like-minded actors who are going through the same audition process as you, who are doing the same interviews, who are applying to the same schools, who are having the same kinds of struggles or uncertainties. And it means that you can exchange advice, exchange stories, and offer support to each other. I'm really looking forward to seeing you there. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Make sure that you subscribe for any videos coming up. But in the meantime, bye!